Morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning with Movers. Again, we have myself, Dwyght, Phil Diamond, and we have Cliff Starks. So we're going to get started today. These boys are a little tired. I'm going to have to wake them up. Phil supposed to be waking up the whole house, So, all right. So let's see what we got on the agenda today. So if you want to introduce yourself, again, just for the new viewers.
Yeah. Looks like we're all matching too, which is awesome.
Oh yeah. Plan that out.
Hey. I love it. Clifford Starks. I went from the UFC into business, and the principles and the philosophies always apply. And it comes down to figuring out who your team is and being the highest performer that you can be. And a high performer, there's someone who always learns. They don't take themselves too seriously, but they take what they do very seriously. And so I'm thankful to be around you professionals. And for the professionals that are watching today, we're looking forward to treating you with some amazing things. And yeah, I'm excited to be here.
All right. What about yourself, Phil?
Phil Diamond here. Came from the automotive background. I was in auto sales manager at a couple of dealerships. Now owner, operator here at All About Moving, Tampa Bay. Also launching a new brand here, All About Storage USA, which we have new storage facility that we're moving into. Been in the business now six years. Just kind of jumped into the business. Fell in love with the business as I've been going along. Met some really good people during this process. Other moving company owners, including some great customers that's turned into some friends of mine. I have a very few limited friends of mine, and two of my good friends actually were customers of ours, and we've been friends now for 5 years, and just trying to make it work and run a nice business where it's profitable for us as the owner and profitable for our employees that is out actually performing the work.
Okay, nice. So I know last week we kind of went over a little bit of depressing stuff, and we didn't want to kind of leave people with that kind of like bad stigma in their mouth about like negativity, because it's early in the morning. We want to get off to a good start, but we also need to know what's going on in the industry as well. As most of you may have known, especially because obviously this is only airing in running a profitable moving company group on Facebook. My coaching program did come out this week, so a lot of people that may have some questions about it, I'm definitely open for questions. But just to go into today, I think that we just need to come to terms with reality and realize where we are going currently in the market. And we've been through the times where, hey, the government was giving out a lot of stimulus checks. And, and it was almost said that, hey, they're forcing all this money into circulation to try to get circulation jumping again. But ultimately, prices were going to either hike up at that point in time, and then now it's starting to go down. So our rates that we were adjusting for to cover for fuel when fuel shot up way too high, is now starting to more or less normalize. And now we have to come to terms that, hey, the rates that we were charging to just get by is now starting to be a little too much. So, how do you effectively lower your rates where you can still be profitable and not be charged too much? And again, that all comes with strategy. It comes with, hey, do you know your numbers off the back already? Do you know your overhead? Do you know what your cost actually is? Because a lot of people don't. A lot of people, you know, are mystery shopping other movie companies. Oh, well, damn, my competitor went up to 180. My competitor went up to 200. What do I charge to feel like, hey, I'm in a normal range? You know, I still have clients today or potential clients that's asking me, hey, I got a long distance job that's going from, you know, Indiana, let's just say, to, you know, South Carolina. How much do I charge for that? And it's kind of like, hey, don't forget where your foundation came from. Don't forget what, you know, what the principles are that you need to account for. Hey, I need to account for fuel. I need to account for hotels. I need to account for this. This all needs to be on autopilot and slightly adjusted based on the economy. You know, so it's never like, okay, you know what? If I'm not around, my team can't do this without me. You know, we should be able to build a system that's running on autopilot from whatever obstacles we run into. Oh, snap. I ran into an obstacle where, you know, I didn't know how to quote a pack and move or whatever the case is. You ran into that obstacle. Create a process so that your workers or your sales staff don't ever have to run into that same obstacle. And, you know, and that's how you get yourself out of the day-to-day grind. You know, I like to go back to the story where, you know, I had over 1,000 processes on a flash drive of how to run my business. You know, anything that came up. Oh, well, hey, how's retail doing their hours every week? You know, when I used to work at Target, I used to figure out, oh, my HR person said, hey, we can only allocate next week 20 hours to you. I said, hey, how, like 20 hours? Okay, where did you figure out that mathematical approach that you can only offer me 20 hours versus 40 hours? And, you know, obviously they will never tell you the science behind it. So, you know, I did countless research on trying to figure out how to get there, how to calculate how many hours I can allocate, because maybe if I figure that mathematical approach out, I can now allocate proper hours to my office staff without feeling like, oh, snap, I might go under next week. I may not even be able to survive in my business. And it took me about a couple of months to figure out the math behind it. And then I realized I didn't even need it. You know, I was just like, you know what? You did all this for what? But it basically, it was building blocks, because that basically told me that, hey, any milestone that you're going to have in the business, you're going to have to, you know, figure it out, build a process for it. And if it's something that pertains to more than one person, you can actually put it into a system where basically everybody can find it. So later on, you don't have people in your organization coming after you saying, hey, what's the answer to this? How do I quote packing? How do I quote moving? How do I quote long distance? And you're trying to focus on developing the business. So basically, everything that you go through, every little hurdle, everything that you need to go to, you need to create a process for it and make sure that it's in a place where people can find it and just redirect them back to the process. All right. So anything on your end, Phil? Cliff, I mean?
Yeah. When we talk about the process, it's funny, like we all deep down inside know some of the things that we need to do, right? There's just the thing of doing it. And one thing that I've learned in my journey is fear can drive us, and it can also leave us paralyzed. And so I ask everybody, myself included, you know, I'm talking to myself too, what things do I need to do today so that I'm thankful tomorrow? Like, I want to be 10 years down the road and talk to my past self and be like, hey, thank you, past self, for the things that you did, for the work that you put in. Because when you do take those building blocks, there's a reason you're doing it. You're not just doing it just to do it. You're doing it for your family. You're doing it for your community. You're doing it for yourself. And when you can say, hey, I'm thankful you did the things that needed to be done so that I could become the person that I am today. And that's what I always remind others to do, is like, hey, are you doing the things that you need to do today so that you can be grateful for tomorrow? And that's my 2 cents.
Now, just to piggyback a little bit off of that, I think one of the coolest things that anyone can do And it may sound weird because we all grown men and ladies, you know, but you know, one of the coolest things I think you could do is write yourself a letter for the 5 year or 10 year you, and basically say, hey, you know, thank yourself for where this has brought you, and you know, and tell that story about where you are currently. And when you look at that letter in 5 to 10 years from now, and you realize how far along you have grown, and you just have that letter that came out of your time capsule 10 years back, and you're like, oh snap, like look how far I actually came. Like it's so much gratitude that just goes into that, and just that self-awareness and confidence that hey, you're doing something.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what about yourself, Phil?
Well, I'm just sitting here kind of entertained, man, because you know it kind of looks like we planned out these red shirts,
Yeah.
and we haven't even really spoken, to be honest, you know, to the group that we really haven't even spoke about, you know, what we were talking about today. And it's just we have so much in common to talk about, even have so much in common to talk about. Hey, man, I'm thinking about a red shirt. Bam! Look at this.
Three great lines.
Three guys, you know, three guys that were thinking alike, you know. And every time I see Clifford over there, man, I keep wanting to. Man, this guy's so soft spoken, man. He was a fighter, like man. But sorry, man.
I mean, you want to get in the octagon.
No, I'm going to be nice to this guy. Like, hey, how you doing today, Mr. Starks? you know, you would think though, a ring fighter or whatever, you know, more of a no, man, whole totally different approach. Like, oh man, hey, how you doing, sir? But
yeah, that's the ones you get fooled by. You go into the bank and they don't want to handle your money. Like,
I know, right?
Like, yo, what? Give my money. And then he's like, okay, sir. Okay.
I was sitting here thinking, I'm like, man, I remember, you know, he's definitely was a fighter, man. Like, man, that guy's so well spoken, man. Sorry, I got off subject a little bit, but I just had to share that because I'm sitting here thinking as he's talking, like, man, this guy probably would beat somebody to death, man. You know, beat somebody up pretty good, and look at him, you know.
Yeah.
But
appreciate and love, my brother.
I'm glad you're my friend. But to touch back on your subject there, where we're just at, you know, we're approaching what we, you know, have known in the industry as moving season, starting to get ready to get busy. Some of us haven't got our ducks in a row, as they would say, as far as getting prepared for that season because of the slow season for some that's had, you know, finances might not have been there for them to start a hiring process, to start hiring, you know, to get prepared. You know, in order for us to get prepared for it, you know, we have to somewhat dig deep down inside and figure out, okay, what is my ultimate goal? And this goes back to not knowing your numbers, right, Dwyght?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of numbers am I going to be targeting? A goal, right? What is my goal? You know, okay, just say you go back and pull your reports from last April and say you did 30 moves. You know, this year you might, yeah, you know, we've, you know, probably get some repeats in there. You know, let's have a goal of 50 moves this year, a year later, you know, between repeats and new customers and things of that nature. Just like you was working at Target, correct? I mean, how are they going to allocate you 20 hours? I mean, how did they even come up with that allocated 20 hours? You know what I mean? So, and you see how you felt over like, hey, I got bills to pay. You know what I mean? And then hold on, I work 20 hours this week. I'm gonna get paid for it next week. That means, hold on, it's the first of the month. I need 50 hours to pay my bills. You
Right.
know, like, hold on, this just ain't making any sense. You know, so I think with all of us coming from, different backgrounds, not really, I don't want to sound, too far out of the way, but, coming from backgrounds where we had to, come from the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
We had to start at a Target. We had to start at a McDonald's. We had to start there. So we understand more than anyone on, you know, feeling, um, you know, like we need more. Like far as
Mm-hmm.
as an employee, why it's important for us to make sure that we're getting our employees hours and making sure they're getting a paycheck to take care of their bills. you know, um, it's funny that you say that because yesterday I was sitting here thinking about our goals within our business on the moving aspect of things, and looking at numbers from last year and starting to see and going to the CRM and starting to see repeat customer, repeat customer, repeat customer. And it's like, man, how am I going to allocate for like next month? Am I going to do 200 moves, or am I going to have potential to get 200 moves next month, but I can only accommodate for 100, 110, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So knowing that balance there is critical. It's money, and you definitely don't want to get to where you're, spending uh, a lot of money in marketing just to tell the customer, I'm sorry, but we're booked for a month,
Mm.
you know,
Right. And we
because,
all been there at some point.
oh yeah. So, that's the importance of networking as well with other moving companies, that's good in the area,
Mm-hmm.
but you know,
And I was gonna say, just to hit on that a little bit, one of the things I think that people should also not necessarily depend on, like, granted, that's all our business is about, is the busy season, really, but don't set high expectations without having a room for failure, I guess, when it comes to the summer, because basically if you've been in this industry for more than at least 2 years, you know that the summer is unpredictable. One summer you can have a crazy busy summer where you're like, oh my goodness, like I'm hitting what 200,000 a month, or I'm having what 50 jobs in 2 weeks, working 7 days straight, with very little guys. And if I could do that with very little guys, oh snap, I could do that with so many more guys. And now that next summer come around, and now you got the staff to handle that flow that you had last summer, and completely different summer. You may not even be that busy. You may, like for me, one summer, I think our Google map listing just dropped off the map at the beginning of June and didn't come back until mid-July. So customers couldn't find us for like almost a month and a half into our busy season. So now you're just like, what the hell? Like I was so ready for 50 jobs or 60 jobs in 2 weeks. And now somebody, had impact on my business that I didn't expect that would even come about. And it's just things like that. So it's like having room for error with, obviously your projections dialed in. It's obviously, it's just one of those things you're just going to have to battle through to get through. So
I
yeah.
actually I would like to get your guys' insights on something, because I know like there is a busy season and there's a slow season, and there's so many variables. Like ultimately I go down to everything comes to preparation. Like how am
Mm-hmm.
I prepared for what's going on right now? And even during a slow time, you can say, how do I think differently from everybody else? Like what can I do that others are not doing? uh Phil mentioned working with real estate agents specifically, and really creating those powerful bonds and those relationships. And so there's always you're never stopping being busy. You're just figuring out what to be busy on, figuring out, okay, what am I prepared to do today? Not, oh, well,
Mm-hmm.
it's slow season, so let me slow down. It's like, how do I think through this? How do I leverage my resources and my resourcefulness? So
I
yeah,
like
I'd love
that.
your guys' thoughts on that.
Yeah, I like that approach. And one thing that they told me before is that we never stop preparation. So coming out of busy season, I'm going to start from that cycle. Coming out of busy season, a lot of people are doing prep for busy season. And during busy season, a lot of people stop prepping and focus on what's going on, where instead focus on, hey, the off season's coming. What are we going to start doing for the off season versus, oh snap, we're in the off season and what can we do? So always be prepping for the next season in the season that you're in, and I think that that's crucial. One of the things that you hit on is, making sure that, I guess, maybe you're productive or so like that. And I think that that's key too, in being productive in the right way. And I think I had to learn that myself, where it's like, oh snap, today I don't have anything on my block calendar. What do I do? You know what? And I'm forcing work that don't need to be forced because it's not going to push the needle. If it was meant to push the needle, it will be on my calendar. And I feel like I'm soul searching for work. I'm looking at my guys like, oh man, my guys, they're sitting in the office, they're not doing anything. Oh man, I'm paying them to be on the clock by the hour. I need them doing something. And you realize that you're pushing for something that isn't pushing the needle forward in your business. So definitely staying productive in an efficient way. And then, hey, if you ain't got nothing to go on, then maybe that's a good thing. Or maybe you just need to sit back and really think, okay, what could be pushing the needle? Have meetings with your team and figure out, hey, where are we? Look at your reviews. If you don't have, even if you are a 5-star review company, or if you had some type of bad review, look over your reviews and see where your team lacks. You don't have to be a perfect company where you're like, well, hey, I need 30 floor runners down. I need carpet protection down. I need all of the stuff down that, damn well that you guys aren't going to keep up with ongoingly. So now that puts more pressure on you.
Yeah.
But look at your reviews and be like, oh, well, my guys showed up late to this job, or my guys didn't wrap this furniture piece, or whatever bad feedback you got, turn that into positive, where it's like, oh, I got bad feedback. Yes, I got something I need to work on, versus you got so much good feedback and you don't know where to go.
Yeah. It's funny you say that though. I don't know if you guys noticed, I had to jump up real quick and turn off my camera because I went into a tangent, because I just happened to look out the window because my office faces the parking lot, so I can see everything, of course. And
I see the city in the back there.
Yeah, boom. I just happened to look up, and I'm like, the damn back door of the truck is open and they're just leaving. Damn cooler about to fall out. I'm like,
Wow.
And this is a more a thing that happens more often than you would think. So many phone calls. Hey, you guys are, I mean, whose job is that? Whose job is it? The driver, of course. I was sharing with Dwyght something that a gentleman shared with me Saturday. I was out networking a little bit on Saturday, invited to a young lady's event that she was having for her customers and for her clients as well. Her clients, same thing, and her friends. She's a realtor, and there was customers there. Hey, are you Phil? I'm like, yes, sir. Oh, we use your company, yada, yada, yada. So talking to a young man, he owned a heating and air company. And I mean, I tell you, I was there for the food mainly because I was hungry. I mean, and I like the young lady too, but I tell you what, I got 3 different things that were said to me that's kind of stuck with me. I couldn't even hold it in long enough because I'm just the kind of guy I like sharing information, right? I couldn't hold it in. I said, oh gosh, I got to call Dwyght before I forget because I want to tell him this. Because they just, it didn't have Dwyght. He didn't answer the phone. So I had to I told my wife, hey, remember this? Remember this for me. But I just,
life be like that.
because I'm just that kind of guy, especially, we call each other friends. We're trying to help each other. We have the same purpose in business, we're definitely trying to help each other. But the gentleman told me, he said, let me tell you something, man. And he had been in business, I think he said about 20 plus years, older gentleman. He said, let me tell you something. I mean, I don't know if you're doing it or not, but someone told me this. Let me pass you the information. He said, go in your office, and he said, yeah, give everybody a sticky note, right? And tell them to put down what they think their job description is and what their duties are, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, he got them back, and he's got 20 plus office personnel, and he was like, they all had all the same stuff. No wonder you guys are fighting. Nobody
Yeah.
knows. But whose fault is that, though?
It starts from the top.
Starts at the top. And he said, Phil, once I realized that, I apologized for not having those policies and know if you don't train someone, they don't know. And I've beat myself up over not properly training someone, a mover out in the field, not telling him, hey, those floor runners need to be used on every job. What floor runners? Where are they at? I mean, small things in life, man. Because what I hear a lot of times, what I've heard from previous customers, you got to listen to bulletin points on why they called you back, what attracted them to your company out of the gazillion that's around.
Right.
And I hear similar things. Consistency. There's never a time where an email's forgot to be answered that day within minutes, if not minutes. Consistency. Hey man, you guys came in. First thing they did was put floor runners down and door jam guards. Guess what? You need to make sure this stuff is on the truck because that is important. The door jam, it just looks more professional. If we were hired to do a professional job, why are we doing it like, unprofessionals?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of people's outlook on professionalism is a little bit different. Some guys think, oh, let me go in and wrap this dresser up and make sure that the rubber bands are, even. But then go in and walk on a, $100,000 floor with cowboy boots on. I mean, priorities, and I thought about this the other day, man, because it's, I was out shopping for outdoor patio furniture, man. And dude, I haven't bought outdoor patio furniture in years. And I didn't realize how expensive it was. I told Melissa, now on company policy is outdoor patio furniture gets wrapped up.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
Yeah, I bet.
You just don't throw it in the truck. I mean, we're wrapping up a, $200 table when you've got a $5,000 freaking patio. I mean, it's,
Yeah, I never bought a patio set. I don't live in a house yet, but I'll figure it out one of these days.
They're expensive, and I can tell you that every patio. I'm not gonna say every. I just don't remember. Sometimes I don't even go. I just let my wife do it, so I don't even really know the cost of stuff sometimes. But a lot of stuff, in this industry is given. Yeah. Oh, you guys need this, or hey, we was moving out of state. It's not going to fit in truck. Can you guys dispose of it? And it's practically brand new.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I know that we got a special guest coming on at 8:30 today. So, definitely I would say that, there are some areas that we definitely want to be improving on in our business this summer. Now that, again, it is normalizing and stuff like that. I won't go into it too much right now because I know that our guest is coming on, but just to give a little insight. So today, we're actually going to be talking about one of the most important things, and I'm actually going to let him in. So we're gonna have James Hartfield from Live Switch coming on today, and pretty much one of the most important things that we can be doing right now, if we're already doing a lot of on-sites, is definitely cutting it back a little bit and obviously normalizing our prices, our expenses. Driving out to jobs is very, 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 very expensive. It got to the point where, hey, you know what? Customers are all over. I know Florida is a huge, huge, huge state. And, customers just got you going 45 minutes out the way. even though, you know, that drive will be equated to like 15 minutes in New York, it's 45 in Florida. And it's just like, oh my goodness, you want me to come out there and you may not even go with me? You know, you want a price match? You know, so it's just like, you know what? Can we set up a virtual? You know, can we talk over camera? You know, you just hold your phone, walk around the house. You know, I won't make you get underneath the bed to see what's underneath there. You know, so I think it's just simplifying the process, cutting our expenses down, looking at our P&L statement, and really chopping at the numbers to figure out, hey, what's your goal? What's your net profit goal? Your net profit should be a percentage. You know, ideally, if you can aim for 20% net profit, meaning that, hey, out of all of your expenses, you manage to only spend 80% of your revenue that you brought in, that's going to be crucial. But it's a matter of how do you get there? What's that little thing? And fuel. You know, if you take a fuel out the business because you're doing on-sites or you're paying people to go out there and do on-sites, you know, that fuel expense is a huge marker on your bottom line. And whether it's your trucks going out every day or if it's you who's traveling every day free to get to the customer's house, just to get maybe get turned away. And I know that the on-sites have a better turnover for booking because, hey, you're building that personal relationship with the customer. But hey, if it's somebody like, you know, Phil, who goes out to the job and he's very personable, and then you got someone like Cliff, who's, you know, also very personable, and you got myself. At the end of the day, you know, we all personable people that, hey, we love to build that relationship with people, and we're all three competing. So now the customer's only thing they can do is say, Phil got the lowest price. No offense, Phil.
Right. Right. Totally understand.
So, you know, so then now it's just like, oh man, I lost a bid and I was so nice. I thought they liked me. I thought they was gonna go with me. You know, so again, that was the purpose. So again, now we have James Hartfield here. Welcome, James.
Hey, good to be here, Dwight. Thanks for having me.
No problem. And basically we wanted to get his feedback on, hey, how do you think the virtual on-sites is changing the game for the moving industry?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you guys are talking about sending the guys out and having, you know, personal relationships. Now you got the nerd in the house with the technology hat on. So we're going to talk a little about technology and how that's going to help play offense as well. Like you guys are talking about securing the job, but also playing defense, you know, limiting claims, showing video when the customer was like, hey, I said to move everything in the attic. And you're like, no, you didn't. Here's the record show. You said don't touch the attic. So watching that bottom line is, you know, what everyone's concerned, especially getting ready to go into busy season. So thanks for having me here today, Dwyght, and talking about a little bit virtual estimates and how our companies are leveraging that to get to those customers faster, you know, save time behind the windshield, as well as just limit those claims and you get to that customer first.
Nice. Okay. So, yeah, so if you want to have at it, James, we'll leave everything to you.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you guys are you know, down and you got your hands in the dirt, you know, and you're getting to those customers. Talk to me a little bit about the way things have been done before virtual estimates even came on the scene. You know, how did you guys go and secure your business? How did you win that business in the past? And then thinking about the future, like, hey, if I had virtual technology as an example, with our technology, if you can send a text, you can use our technology. You send a text to the customer, they click the link on the text, allow the camera, they start walking around the house or the apartment office, and they're showing you what's going on while you're recording it. And we had to make it easy because it's for the layperson, right? Those people that aren't tech savvy, you know those people in your life where you're like, where's the app and it's those people that we got to make sure that experience is spot on and easy. I saw that, Phil. But yeah, if it's not easy, it ain't gonna get used not only by the customer, but also by your team and your staff. You know, if they're fumbling around with technology, oh, hit that button, do this, you know, you're not making it easy. So we wanted to make something that, because everyone's talking about, oh, can it do that artificial? Yes, we can do it if we wanted to get into the fancy stuff. But right now, with where the moving industry is and where our customers are, these just started getting in everybody's pocket not but a couple of years ago. That's why we didn't have this capability. You know, so we did get in the truck. We did get behind on there in the hopes of trying to win every job. This expands your reach, right? Now I can start bidding on jobs farther away. Maybe I wouldn't have driven that extra distance to do a specialty move. But hey, if it's got 5,000 square feet plus, it's going to be a moneymaker for me. Maybe I'll try a bid virtually. So it's thinking a little bit different where we're seeing our companies take that next step to try to use technology. And hiring is hard too. People want to work from home. Your bidders, your sales folks, they don't always want to come into the office every day. So now you're enabling to get that talent from anywhere, especially if you're in a high rent district. You think talking about New York, Atlanta, Florida. Well, maybe hire someone who doesn't live there. I mean, it's a different kind of thought, but you're paying less for the staff, getting the same, and you might even like the person and that warm personality because that's the first person touching your customer. So having that virtual estimate technology in your hands in your business can give you some ways to think about it a little bit differently too. So there's a lot of education that we do here at Live Switch around that.
Gotcha. So Phil, what would you say, because I've been to some big houses to do on sites, but I feel like a lot of my business don't come from doing, on sites or stuff like that. So for you who go to those big houses and stuff like that, what do you feel with the mixture of the in-person versus, hey, if you can actually have that simplified approach to virtual?
So we do it a little different. I'm old school business. I've always ran, all of my business is old school, in person, especially for, some larger homes, just my personal touch. Anything over like a 3-bedroom, I like to try to take a look at it within reason. So what we do is we send out a email quote far as hourly rates before we even go. And that goes in after we've got somewhat a little bit of an idea of the move, and we just give an idea of 2-man all the way to 10-man crew rates. And just depending on where they're going, travel charges or whatever. And it's worked in some cases. It's funny because I drove last week about an hour to a customer's home, and somehow I didn't get the hourly rates. That's way too expensive. 2.5, hour there, hour and a half back, whatever the case may be with traffic. 2.5 hours of that day was just, and this was, a huge home. And, probably could have saved myself some time by just doing a video of the inventory, and I could have did 10 other things within that time. If it's relatively close, just because a lot of our jobs are within, 20 or 30 mile radius of our office, I've always just felt it necessary to go out and take a look at the items. Gives me an opportunity to sell a few other things as I'm going through, and really find out the customer needs. But what I've been lacking is I tend to forget what I've talked about. It's like
is that the part where you're talking about building a rapport?
James was saying, go back to your video, and that's where,
Gotcha.
where you think about it, you do 3 or 4 estimates a day, you've got notes, you've taken pictures, you've taken video while you're there, but you don't have your recorded conversation when that customer told you, hey, just put everything in the garage. Now you over here at Mrs. Ingleson, 4 customers in, dude, it gets confusing, and next thing you know, there's nothing to really go back to, like a video, or we get all of our customers, don't text, don't call. If you have a question, email. That way that there's we do a lot of moves a month. We want to be able to keep up with it of, hey, I'm not going to take this, but I'm going to take this, and I need this. You call, you may catch someone out of the office, or text message just gets, kind of lost, man. So I definitely want to look into the opportunity to look into the video estimating for some of our estimates,
I think
Okay.
some of the things to start thinking about too with the technologies, when people think estimates and video, they kind of put it in this one box. Like, oh, that means I don't have to go out and do that. It's like, not, we got to open up the scope of how you can start using video and remote in your business. So at Live Switch, we're talking a lot with folks about pre-qualification. You still might go out, but hey, let me pre-qualify that, have that quick conversation, lay my eyes on it, because it might not be worth that hour drive. They might show you video like, oh, no way. So that's one, right? So you pre-qualify before you even go on site. Then when you go on site, we have this feature where it's called the video Dropbox. So you can send yourself a text. You can even send a customer text. I got another thought about that, but send yourself a text. So when you're on site, you can start recording. Hey, ma'am, do you mind if I record while we're here? I like to make sure I got everything down, right? To your point, because when you go back and you show up on move day and they got a pile of books that you didn't see, you're like, hold on a second. Where did these come from? I didn't put that into my estimate, and I didn't see that on the video either. So, that's just going to hit your hourly rate a little bit more, man. Like, this is where, your price is going to go up. So you can have that video record, as well as you talked about, hey, the person might not always be home. You move a lot of busy people. They're in the office. They're like, hey, that's not convenient for me. In fact, I don't get home until most days at 8 p.m. I don't know how we're going to make this work. And you're like, hey, if you want the business, you might drive out. Or video Dropbox. Hey, Mr. Customer, what I'm going to do, I'm going to send you a text. When you get home at 8 o'clock, click that text, click the link, allow the camera, and we walk into each room, go room to room for me, show me the garage, show me the attic. If they miss something, you can go back, hey, I didn't see the outside steps. Can you show me the steps so I know what we're dealing with there? And they can do that at 9 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night. You don't have to be on site. It's just giving you that extra advantage, bits and pieces. It might not take away, like you said, Phil, from everything that you're doing. You're a little old school, nothing wrong with that. It's just adding those bits and pieces that get you that extra deal, save you that extra 2 hours behind the windshield, save you that claim, save you that, let the record show I'm not moving all the books. It's starting to weave it in. And because you just didn't have it, we didn't have a tool. It's like you didn't have the screwdriver and a hammer, and now you got it. You're like, oh, okay, well, I guess I can use it. Like some of our guys use it during the move. Hey, I'm gonna, right before you guys pick up that grand piano or that antique furniture that costs about $3,000, will you guys take a full video to show that scratch is right there on top of that? So when we unload it, I'm not getting hit with that, or, hey, ma'am, I have loaded up the truck. Let me send you a text, because all of our recordings are in the cloud. They're not busting up your phone memory, and you can just save that link and say, look, here's a link. It gives that extra layer of, hey, you're handling people's stuff, but it's quick. It's got to be quick, can't take time. So we're trying to find different ways to weave in and take, the moving business to the next place with video without getting too crazy with it, without all the extras that just make it complicated. So that's kind of where we're meeting people where they're at.
Yeah,
Okay.
that definitely makes sense. What were you gonna say, Phil?
I was going to ask him how much, I heard him say it saves it in the cloud, which I just thought about me looking through my pictures the other day and seeing all types of furniture. So it's ridiculous, man. I'm like looking, dude. I'm like, geez, I got 3 family portraits and 3,000 plus pictures of just random furniture. Don't even know who it is anymore.
Right.
So I definitely want to get the information there. So the cloud, how much space does that hold for the for video and photos?
Oh yeah, definitely can handle that. So there's a couple things going on. So our company is a 14-year-old company. We've been doing tons with video. I mean, if you watched Super Bowl, Final Four coming up, WWE wrestling, Adobe, we did all that video. So we are video people. We've been doing it for 14 years, and so we build all our stuff on AWS. AWS is Amazon's servers are global. We've got customers in Australia using our moving software. So we centralize it, and we've got unlimited storage for you guys. It's not a problem. AWS, all of Netflix is built on AWS. So we can handle that scope, that volume. It's not a problem for us. The other thing going on, so don't worry, just use it as much as you can, put as much video as you can. It takes your entire team, whether you're a team of 2 or a team of 22. You have everyone you want to have it in their hand is right here, in their Android or iPhone. We could care less what device you have. And you can just go and record it, and it's all centralized. So just make sure, hey, put the customer name on there so we know. So I'm looking up Sally Sue, who said that we weren't supposed to do X, Y, and Z. You look them up, let the video show, or grab the link and put it in. If you got a CRM or if you got everything in a Google sheet or Excel sheet, just put those links to the customer file right there. So after you save that from whatever team member it is, just grab that link and put it right next to that customer. So I've got the videos, and you can have as many as you want. You got 20 videos of the move or 1. We got you if it's 3 hours worth of content or 10 minutes, and it's all centralized. So that helps in case someone decides, hey, I don't want to be at this company tomorrow. All that stuff isn't on their phone. It's in your system and it's safe.
That's crucial, because one of the biggest things for us was, hey, trying to figure out how we can get more pictures on every job, or how we could figure out how we can get more videos on every job. And it was just like, okay, well, we have tablets, and the tablets, usually save it to whatever Gmail you may have linked to that account or whatever the case is. But, it's a matter of, okay, well, hey, we need to download that. We need to take it off the tablet, put a name to it, because I tell you, in 5 days, I'm not going to remember where that came from, So, having something like that where it's just like, okay, you know what, if we could title this right off the rip, hey, this is Sue's job on the 25th, or whatever the case is, and it all just being housed in one cloud place, that's game changing, especially with video.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then there's other things you can do with it, right? Because you can just quickly view it, boom, it comes up. But if you do need to download it, let's say some of our folks like to download the video to show on their website, hey, what to expect when working with us, right? And they might show some videos. You can use it in a lot of different ways. Some of our folks use it for interviews. Let me text you and interview a staff member, or a potential staff member.
Wow.
Again, open it up for remote. It's just one of those things, like it's a next. I tell people it's a Nextel walkie-talkie. Let me tell you where this came from. It's really interesting. So I'm working with the chief of police in Washington, D.C., and we are reinventing the 911 phone call. So in the future, instead of just what's your emergency, you're going to get a text message that you can click the allow camera button and point it at the emergency. So that video can go right to the fire truck, emergency medical, or police, so they know what's going on. It's called situational awareness. And so with all things government, it's taken a while to get out. So we ended up creating this tool. I'm like, oh, well, who else can use this quick to connect? Click, boom. And hence it was born. And so we are kind of new kids on the block. We've been doing this since last year, but it's been fun watching people use our version of the Nextel walkie-talkie throughout their moving business in whatever way. And I hear new ideas all the time. Like, I didn't even think of that. Like the interview idea. It's like, I didn't even think about that. Someone else told us that. And our customers give us the best ideas. Like one example is that video Dropbox I was telling you about. They were like, hey, James, like sometimes my customer isn't even at the home. Could they just record it themselves? I'm like, oh yeah. Because I've got a bunch of engineers here at our company. So we love hearing these new ideas from the movers.
Yeah, and while you're on that was actually a good concept with the interview idea. Because I just, not gonna say any names, don't need to infringe nothing. But there was an interview that obviously I went through, or whatever the case is, and it was actually a video interview where a series of questions was asked of me, and basically I had to do pre-recorded answers. And then, the company would ideally just view that video interview, and decide, okay, well, based on their answers, is this person going to be a good candidate? Now, I thought that was very, very, very powerful, because it was just like, hey, let's weed out the bad candidates before we even, bother wasting time. And I also think that, there's a up and down to that. The down to that is, hey, do you build that interpersonal relationship, and do you, have the opportunity of selling your company, as well as building that rapport with that person to see if they're going to be a good fit? Or,
well, there's a couple other things you can do that's interesting. That what you're talking about is because with the video Dropbox feature, you can have them, hey, in 5 minutes, I'm going to send you a text link. In 5 minutes, tell me why we should, I would be a good addition. And you're going to know in 5 minutes, it's like their interview. Did they dress up? Did they do it? How are they looking? Are they speaking well if they're going to be in sales? Are they interpersonal? Did they prepare for that? You can also say, if they're going to be a driver, hey, can you show me your vehicle, or show me your driver's license? Like, and you don't even have to be there. It's as simple as
we don't want to see their vehicle. But
you know what I'm trying to say. But it's like one of those things where you're like, oh, if I just send a text, it doesn't take more time off your schedule. It's actually going to save time, because now you've got that 5-minute review, a pre-interview before you actually do the real thing, which you can do in person, or again, you can do it via video. But it's just finding new ways to be like, oh, okay, this is going to save me some time, give me some visibility, and decide whether or not I'm going to even move forward with the interview itself. Not even worth it after seeing 5 minutes. I ain't doing it.
Makes sense. Well, Phil, I was going to say that this also, I know that, again, you mentioned old school, and that's a good point, because, hey, a lot of people don't want to get away from that interpersonal touch and feel of going out to a customer's house. So another way I feel like we can use a technology like this, a simple technology like this, would be for confirmation calls. So when your dispatcher or your sales team, whoever is calling the customer to say, hey, we just want to confirm all the details that you went over initially and make sure that, hey, you are packed up now and, you're ready for your move. Hey, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you this link. If you want to just, make sure that we can double confirm that, hey, what you told the sales rep, is accurate. So we have the right equipment and guys for tomorrow or 2 days from now. Then, that'd be really great. And they're like, okay, yeah, send me the link. I'm at home right now. Send them the link. You kind of walk around their house. Oh, snap. They got something that I don't want to touch. Okay, you know what? Let me see how I'm going to reword this. And it's kind of like, because we've been into a lot of situations where you go to a house and the house is just not up to standards. And you're just like, you know what? We can't do this move.
Yeah.
And, being able to do a video confirmation like that is just like, oh, wow, I got ahead of it before I even went out there.
I
I
see a lot of different use. I'm sorry, go ahead, Clifford.
Yeah, I look at the old school and I think of the new school, and I always say, like, this is all a mind game, right? At the end of the day, and when you can figure out, like, ultimately, okay, what is it that I'm doing as a business owner? I'm helping me, I'm helping my people, and I'm helping my community. That's the name of the game. And when you can add a tool or a vehicle like James has and say, hey, this is going to expand what we are, it all comes down to adaptability. It's all about being adaptable. Like, how can I help my community more? How can I help more people easier? How can I make it easier for myself, for my team, for the people that I'm working with? And what I really thought was cool is James says, I get ideas from the people I work with all the time. And so I'm always looking for ideas. My 2-year-old gives me ideas. I just have to be willing to look for it. And this is a really, really cool tool because ultimately the name of the game is transparency. Like, if there's enough transparency, things tend to work out better. When the transparency is not there, when Phil, you don't have your team write down what they think their jobs are, what they think their priorities are, there's no transparency. And without the transparency, everything just, it gets wonky and it gets hard and everyone's messing up everything because they don't even know what they do, right? So, James, I love the tool and I love what you're doing for the community. And I think it's super, super cool. It started off as a walkie-talkie to help the civilians, and then it's expanding to something even more. And look, as humans, we're problem solvers. That's the name of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can be the best leader that you can be and just ask the right questions, you'd be amazed at what answers you come out with. So yeah, I think this is awesome.
What were you going to say, Phil?
No, I do. Just to touch base on what Clifford said there, definitely the technologies. That's where a lot of our millennials, they don't really, the old school business technique only works for the old school clients, which is we're weeding away. We're getting older, and unfortunately, even your great grandma has Facebook now. Just give it, and I definitely want to look into that tool. I knew it existed. I'm just a little hard-headed sometimes. Being a part of a moving group though is starting to help me open up a little bit more to other avenues. For years we ran without a CRM. Paper, everything on paper. Even I still want to get down and write a whole inventory list off paper and then go back and put it into the CRM.
I still do.
It's like, man, but it's just a waste of time.
It is double entry.
When time is not on your side, and then of course trying to make time for, hey, instead of 50 moves this month, we want to do 80 moves or 90 moves, so the volume is going to double. You know, you're getting more incoming calls, more incoming leads. You know, how do you, at the end of the day, you're going to have to add a person or two to cover all of this the old school fashion way, when you could just add one tool. Guess what? And it won't call into work. I mean, you know, and that's how I'm looking at this now. It's funny because my wife just texted me and said that too. So,
No,
you don't have to worry about it calling in sick. Like, it ain't going to get sick and, like, you know, I got a tummy ache today, you know. So
I think that could be powerful as well, you know, and obviously the son that maybe James' team will hit on later on down the line is that, especially if they're going to be, you know, more or less specializing in the moving industry, is that having a video crew note, you know. So obviously we could still use our CRMs and we could still maybe plug the link into our crew notes or whatever the case is. But, you know, I get a lot of guys, or when I was actually in a day-to-day grind, I get a lot of guys who says, oh man, what's the inventory looking like today? What's this looking like today? You know, we don't want to go in there blind or whatever the case is. And, you know, being able to put that video link in the crew notes versus, hey, you know what, maybe I wasn't able to 100% write down or put down 100 items on the inventory form itself because, you know, this customer really had a big home. But actually having a video inventory where it's like, hey guys, so this is the breakdown for the day, a debrief. Hey, so in this room here, room 1, this customer says these items aren't going, these items are going. Here's the basement setup, you know, and kind of like being able to debrief them from a video standpoint versus debriefing them from a, you know, a paper standpoint. Hey guys, remember that these 5 items on this inventory form is not going. And, you know, and I don't know about you guys, I've started seeing CRMs that's putting on their inventory, electronic inventory, items not going. And I find that counterproductive. Like, why would I want to know items not going versus looking at the items that are going? Because it almost gets confusing if you're looking at the paper to try to match up the inventory. You know, it's as simple as tell a customer, hey, put stickers on stuff that's not going so we don't touch it. So, but James, did you have anything on your end?
Yeah, it's triggering a lot of thoughts. And I think what Cliff shared too about building that transparency, trust, which also can lead to training. The transparency piece being that, like, hey, now you got things in the light. You got videos, you got what people are saying, as well as the photo. It's not just a photo, because hearing what people are saying. As a business owner, you're getting transparency not just from what's going on with the customer, you're getting transparency what's going on with your team. And when you see what your team is doing, you're able to really train them. Hey, this is how we wrap. This is how we wrap the furniture. This is how we load the furniture. This is how we talk to customers when we got an issue. This is how, you know, we sell. You know, this is what I like seeing as a business owner. You're getting that additional layer of, you know, transparency, understanding, you know, and you can see right when we got kids who need some tap on the back. I love that. So that's great. I got 4 little ones too, man. I'm surprised I don't have one in my hands too. It's awesome. But having that layer of training, I think, is fantastic as well, especially onboarding new folks. You know, I know you guys are constantly dealing with, you know, bringing on new staff as well. As just kind of training the old dogs, you know, of like, hey, I saw something. Can I show you something? And when you said this on the video, you know, let's try to tweak that just a little bit, not to micromanage, but to open up, you know, on each end what's going on. So I really appreciate what Cliff said about that transparency. But I think a lot of training can be used with these videos too. As well as just in operations, you know, hey boss, like, I didn't know we were doing this today. You know, they could send a quick text link, you know, over to Phil and say, hey Phil, can you put your eyes on this? I know you're back in the office. You know, we're trying to get this going on. Can you tell me, you know, what I need to do there? So you're opening even up your operations to being on site when they can't be there. Maybe you are sick and have a little tummy ache. You can still, you know, help out. You know, Phil might be at home, or we got kids in our hands. We're still trying to, you know, run the business. So I think there's just other layers we haven't thought about. I know we kind of lead with the, you know, hey, let's do the video estimate, the virtual estimate, but there's just so much more to do with a tool like this.
Okay. So I know that we got, well, we're actually at 9 a.m. right now. So, you know, if anybody's interested, I do have a referral link in the group. So only for group members only, you know, MAC 10 is the code. so that pretty much you guys can get your you do your free demo, and then pretty much you can get a 10% discount on starting your service with Live Switch. So I would say definitely take advantage of it. It's it's endless with what you could do with this technology. Phil, did you have any other questions for James before we take off?
No. I'm sure I'm gonna actually was putting it in my phone so I could take a look at it a little later today. As you know, Dwyght, my wife pretty much runs this moving company, so I'll get her to take a look at it. But I think it's pretty awesome. I've actually just seen a Google ad regarding Live Switch. I just had to really think about it. I just seen something about a live something on a Facebook ad the other day. And now it's starting to make sense. But
they following you around.
I know, right?
Well, we are members of the Florida Movie Associations. You might have seen us there. We got a lot of folks down in Florida that are using the tool, but definitely Facebook. And Dwyght, thank you so much, for having us here today. And Cliff and Phil,
definitely.
Really nice to meet both you guys too.
Definitely,
Yes, sir.
definitely. Cliff, did you have any questions?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, James. Thank you for your time. I saw Live Switch with Jay Burnham as well.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I look forward to it helping a lot of moving companies through their journey.
Okay, awesome. All right, so thank you so much, James.
Thank you.
And again, everybody, if you do have any questions, James is in, I believe you are in our Facebook group. If you aren't, definitely get in our Facebook group.
Yep.
And,
Yep,
if you have any questions, definitely don't hesitate to reach out to the man. Obviously he's a tech guru, so he knows what he's saying. So, definitely reach out to him, and this could be used in so many different ways. All right, everybody. So y'all take care.
Appreciate y'all. Take care.
Thank you.
Have a good
Here
one.
y'all.